welcome to 2-Day Rentals. Now, just recently, I hopped in the car with the family and we hightailed it out to Canton, Texas, where they have the first Monday trades days, and it's a gigantic flea market. Now, according to their website, world largest flea market. Now, I don't know who's keeping a track of these official stats of world largest flea market. I can guarantee you, in just about any state, somewhere in the country, there's gonna be something like this. Maybe not. I don't have any other experience with things like this. Well, I mean, a few. I've been to some swap meets and stuff in California. We have a pretty big flea market here close to where I live. But, you know, they have the claim. You know, it's on their website. So, you know, you got to believe everything on the internet these days. It's probably the best advice I could give you. But, you know, so Canton, Texas, it's in East Texas. I've been to this flea market before. It's probably been about 15 years. And we just don't get out that way too often. So we decided to hop in the car with mom and dad, my wife, puppy dog, Copper. If you're watching, boy, I love you. You're a good boy. And we met my aunt and uncle out there, and we were going to see what we could see. And if you're wondering, I'm sure many of you probably know what a flea market is. I don't have to tell you that. But if you're wondering what all stuff that this place has to offer, I mean, really, something for everyone. And honestly, even Copper found something. He found a little fountain to drink out of, and the lady was very nice. She let him continue to drink. He kept getting a ton of compliments, by the way. Oh my God, he's so handsome. And he is. But it goes straight to his brain, so we have to watch it. No, but really, there's something for everyone. I mean, they've got new stuff, old stuff. If you're into toys and video games and all that kind of quirky stuff I like to collect, you're probably going to find stuff like that there. You know, folk art, handmade stuff, you name it. I mean, they really got a little something for everyone. I mean, for instance, these Super Mario Brother and How the Grinch Stole Christmas little ironwork yard decorations. I thought these street signs were really neat. You know, to go in your room. Maybe one of them has your name on it, or maybe one of them has a play on word. There was a Rambo one I really kind of wanted, but the price was a little bit more than what I wanted to pay for something like that. They've got food galore. Oh man, and it's like fair food. It's like carnival food, but good. I mean, we got turkey legs, we got corn dogs, we got funnel cakes. It's there, you know, and it's spread out over several acres, and it's been around since 1850. And they do it the weekend before the first Monday of every month. So I think certain times a year you probably get a bit more traffic. When we went, the weather's beautiful, but however, the day before they set up, they got some pretty severe weather, and I actually think that kept a lot of the vendors from setting up that weekend. Or if they did, you know, maybe they're going to set up later in the weekend. They've got some indoor sort of permanent sort of stores that are always there, permanent fixtures, and people to just come set up for the weekend. And you know, if you bring cash, much like any flea market if you've been to, people are willing to barter. And I'm sure if you wait till Monday, when they're about to close up, people are really looking to make a deal. It's a really neat place. If you're out that way, the first Monday trades day, like it says, it's the weekend before the first Monday of every month. Go check it out. I can promise you, you will find you something. And speaking of things I found, I'll go over all my little goodies. And you know, you kind of have to pick and dig. Things are hidden. You have to kind of claw through things and pop your head in every tent. Now it's impossible to do that because there is a lot, and I was with other people and I wanted to respect their time. So anytime I would see a tent or a booth set up that had things I liked, I would kind of dip down in there, record a little bit of footage, dig around a little bit and see what I could find. When you go to these type places, if you set your expectations too high, especially like at a flea market or thrift store swap meet, you just don't know what you're going to get. If you set your expectations too high, you may get let down. And, you know, that's kind of a moniker that I've taken on just about anything in life at my age. You know, set the bar a little lower. You know, if it was a convention like a Retro Expo or a Comic-Con, my expectations are probably going to be a bit higher, but I also know with higher expectations comes a higher premium. I think everything I got, the prices were stellar. There were definitely some booths where I think they've caught on to this wave now over the past 10 years, I feel like, where Everyone's really wanting to dig deep to their childhood or go back to things that they couldn't get when they were kids or forgot about and take a little piece of that nostalgia home. And definitely over the past 2 or 3 years, I mean, prices have just skyrocketed. And that's why I'm not opposed to, collecting things loose or piecing something together to make it complete. I'm always looking for a deal that way. You really have to kind of mill about. In one area there was just a trailer kind of set up with a ramp into it, and you kind of have to go up there and peek in to see what they have, because otherwise you would walk right past it. So I'm sure there were plenty of things. Matter of fact, I know there's things that I missed. When I was looking back at some of the footage I shot, there's this Riddler. What are those things called? Mighty Max, not Polly in my pocket. Anyway, it's a Riddler head, and it had the miniature in it, and I didn't even see it. And there was a lady that was selling some bootleg Godzilla figures. They're a bit pricey. I just always think, when I think of flea markets, I really do think of bootleg type stuff. And I've had good luck finding bootleg stuff there. Just spoiler alert, I didn't really find any bootleg things this time around. It's a neat place, good times, the weather was perfect, Doggo was having a blast, we were all just finding all sorts of treasures. So let's get into some of the things that I found while I was out there. Alright, this little item here I found, I really like it. In a way, I guess I do kind of collect pins, and this one I saw it and I could tell it was old, and it's this Return of the Jedi pin. It's got a copyright of 1983. The gentleman said that he remembers buying these at Woolworths, and he got them for, I think, like 25 cents, maybe even cheaper or something like that at the time. And he just bought a bunch of them. And over the years, he's just sort of sold them and kept a few for himself. He verified that it was vintage, and it looks like it is. And so, whether it is or not, I think I got it for $1. So I'll take it. I stuck it on my jacket for the rest of the day while we were out there. And I like pins. I've got a few that I think are pretty collectible. I don't think this one's super collectible. Love Star Wars. As a kid, Return of the Jedi was my favorite one. And as I've gotten older, that's changed a lot, especially with all the new Star Wars content that we have. But for $1, I was going to take it off his hands, and it was going to come home with me. And I wore it proudly the rest of the day. So this next item, when I saw it, it just lit up my eyes, and I was like, that's coming home with me if the price is right. And it certainly was. And I'm talking about this WCW NWO gift bag. Now, there's nothing in it. It's just literally a bag that you would put a birthday gift in, take it to a friend's house for a birthday party. Hopefully it was on a Sunday night when there was a pay-per-view and he had some sort of awesome pay-per-view birthday party. Look, I don't know who else is really into this. I was really into wrestling in the mid and late 90s, and I think this is copyrighted 1999. So that's right when WWF at the time and WCW were having their Monday Night Wars. ECW was trying to do their thing, completely different from the rest of the two. But, so yeah, and it was around this time when I was really splitting my watching and viewing time between all of them. This bag features all the heavy hitters of WCW at that time, or a few of them at least. You've got Hollywood Hulk Hogan flexing his thing, DDP doing the bang, Sting looking very ominous and just sort of mysterious, and of course Goldberg yawning on the front. He's like, when can we get this photo shoot over? No, but, Goldberg really speared his way onto the scene and was a huge, huge success for WCW. I always thought he was sort of their answer to Stone Cold Steve Austin. It took me a while to get on board with what he was doing. And then when I kind of found out that he was definitely doing his own thing, and wasn't really trying to emulate Stone Cold, I kind of got on board. But he went like 100-0 when he first burst onto the scene. I really like this thing. I like the colors on it. It kind of reminds me of the covers of the wrestling games that came out for the Nintendo 64 at that time. WCW versus NWO, WCW Revenge. Yeah, all those. Really big fan of those. And, stuff like this is cool. It's new old stock. It hangs up really nicely. It stores easy. I'm sure eventually I'll end up probably putting wrestling figures in this thing. But for $1, again, Yeah, I'm all on that. So fun little item here. So as many of you probably know, when you go to flea markets, you're gonna find a lot of stuff loose. And it just depends on how you collect. I personally don't mind loose action figures. If the quality of the figure is still fairly decent, even sometimes if it's borderline, if I'm really looking for that figure, if I really want it, I'll go ahead and pick it up. And I guess it all depends on the collector or what you can get it for, because at this same flea market, I saw some loose figures that the condition was awful and they really had no business charging that much. But I guess that's just the landscape these days. So this first thing that I want to talk about that I found is this 1995 Kenner Batman Returns Batman Attack Wing figure. My gosh, believe it or not, it took me a while to get all that just right, and I still messed it up. The 1995 Kenner 1995 Batman Returns Batman Forever Batman Attack Wing figure. My goodness. So it's not in that great a shape, but it's also an action figure that I've kind of had my eye on. I don't have a lot of Batman Forever figures. I have a few. This is one that I really like the bat suit in this one. So for $1, I was going to pick it up. He's got some issues with him, there's no doubt, but for the most part, he's still intact. And if I find a cape to throw on him, or if I can find those gigantic wings that the figure actually originally came with, loose or separate, that would be kind of neat to add to it. But, you know, it's $1, and I know I've got an extra cape sitting around somewhere. I'll set him up with the rest of my Batman figures. He'll look great up there. This color scheme is just really different, you know? He's got the red sort of gauntlets, and the sort of purplish gray suit makes that yellow belt really pop. Again, it looks like something's been chewing on his bat ears. Hey, Catwoman, or I don't know, Dogman, or Child Boy Girl. 1995 Batman Forever Batman Attack Wing figure. See, the last take I do of it, it works out. So I have a thing. If I ever see a loose Kenner Aliens figure and it's in good shape, I gotta save it. I gotta, much like the Batman figure, you know, I almost left it behind, but I was like, no, I gotta save you from this pile of just mismatched toys. You have a better future ahead of you. You deserve better. And same thing with you know, this Drake figure. You know, it's a Drake Colonial Marine. I don't know how many of these I have. He was $1. Yeah, he's coming home with me. He's in good shape, and you know, I have some plans with some of these spare Kenner Aliens figures. I'd like to kind of dive into doing some customs with them. So the more parts I have, the more times I can screw up. And I see if I can't open my own Kenner toy shop here at 2 Day Rentals, because as we all know, and I've said time and time again, Kenner love to quote-unquote Frankenstein their figures. Take this piece, combine it with that, and come up with something new. And if I get the right tools and paint, I'll be able to do something fun. And I have something in mind for him. He'll go along very well with the 100 other Drake Colonial Marine figures that I have. But for $1, had to save him. You never leave a Marine behind, especially a Colonial Marine that's trapped in there with, I mean, Lord knows what else. He deserved better. He really did. And these next ones, man, I was super excited to find. So right here I have Chip from Chip 'n Dale's Rescue Rangers. I absolutely just love that cartoon. I would rush home in the early 90s, I think it was 90, 91, 92, just to watch all those Disney afternoon cartoons. And Chip 'n Dale's Rescue Rangers was one of my favorites. At one point in time, I had Dale. And so now it's like total role reversal. Now I have Chip, gotta find a Dale. This was at $1. I believe it's not branded. I think it just may have been sold at Disney stores, maybe at the park. I know they did a few of these as like a mail-in offer for Kellogg's cereals. I think it was the Darkwing Duck ones. But yeah, this one's neat. You know, again, it's just so funny how this stuff comes full circle. Always wanted Chip when I was a kid. I had Dale, couldn't find Chip. Now I've lost Dale and Chip's here. So here we go. But cute little figure. He'll look great up with my other Disney stuff. And so, yeah, I was glad I found it. All right, these next couple of figures, I was really had a double take. No pun intended, and you'll find out here in a minute why I said that. but I had to double take when I saw them because are those what I think that they are in this box of figures labeled $1 each? And they sure as hell were. It's the Double Dragon figures from Tyco. I believe these are from 1993. So here's the deal. Love me some Double Dragon. Love the video game. They did a cartoon animated series that I think ran 1 or 2 seasons, and that's where these come from. Now, of the 2 that they had, they only had 2, and I wish they had more, because at that price, I would have bought every last one of them. I had Billy Lee, who is and has always been one of the main protagonists in Double Dragon, and Vortex. So, these are by Tyco, and, Tyco is known for their Mega Blocks, Crash Test Dummies, Dinotopia figures, the Cadillacs and Dinosaurs line, which is really cool. They did some decent stuff in the late 80s and 90s, and they kind of got sold off and eventually disbanded. So, yeah, these are... they're kind of goofy looking, but they're based off the cartoon. I remember the cartoon. I remember these figures as a kid. But the thing about it is, when you're a kid, you have to pick and choose which figures you want to invest in. So if these were out in 1993, and I'm at the store, and my mom lets me get a figure, my dad's like, hey, okay, yeah, quit bugging us, you can pick up a figure. I'm probably not going to reach for the Tyco Double Dragon figures, as cool as they are. I was probably going to go for a G.I. Joe, definitely an Aliens figures from Kenner, something from Kenner, and that's why these kind of got left behind. Saw them, saw the cartoon, loved them. These are the first I've ever owned, and I just love it. I don't have anything Double Dragon, so they've got some action to them. Billy Lee has this punch, maybe? I mean, it's a punch, or I think he actually maybe came with a sword, so maybe that's like a sword slashing action. Vortex, however, so you wind this sucker up, right, until it gives you that nice hard click, stick his arms out, and he's vortexing on you. I mean, he's doing vortex. I mean, that's it vortex punch. These are awesome, and I'll definitely throw these up with my mishmash of action figures that I have displayed. They'll kind of fall right in with the oddball 90s figures that I have in my collection, but really, really excited to find these. Like I said, I double take for Double Dragon when I saw these, and they came home safe with me. And actually at the same booth that I got the Return of the Jedi pin, or button, this gentleman had a couple of these, and it's this E.T. extraterrestrial little PVC figure. It's kind of soft, that PVC material, like the Chip from the Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers figure. I really like this guy because now it gives me 3-4 different sizes of E.T. He's got his little speak and spell with him. This is 1982 LJN. The packaging's not great on it. It's a little bit worse for the wear, but it's still there. So I'll probably end up taking it out, save the card back, put it in my Hot Wheels binder. I've got a binder that I stick all my card backs in. It's getting a little stuffed, so I may have to find a Trapper Keeper or something. So this is the Mummy Returns Scorpion King figure. And, upon further sort of review of this figure and thinking about it, I'm actually really glad I picked it up. And the initial reason that I went back and got it, because I left it at the table, is the packaging on this is really kind of rad. It's got these scorpion claws in this sort of plastic mold reaching up and grabbing the really neat Mummy Returns logo. It's the Scorpion King. You have Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, making maybe, I believe, one of his first major motion picture debuts. He may have done something else prior to that. I don't really know. But what I do remember is that this movie came out in 2001. And actually, I'll read you what the back of this figure says. In 1999, audiences everywhere were swept away by the power, the mystery, the adventure of the Mummy. I really like these films. In May 2001, The Adventure is reborn. Brandon Fraser and the entire original cast and creative team are reunited in The Mummy Returns and are joined by WWF superstar The Rock in the role of the Scorpion King. So, here's the thing. This is really what I feel like this movie, this role for Dwayne Johnson, kind of catapulted him into next level stardom. I mean, 2001, he was at his peak as a professional wrestler. You didn't get more popular. You couldn't hate him. You could love to hate him, but at the end of the day, you still loved his presence and what he did. Combined all of that together for him, really launched him into the stratosphere, and he just, you know, keeps doing his thing, man. I really like him. He seems like a neat guy. The figure itself, I don't know what's going on. It's by Jakks Pacific. I just kind of remember them being known for better figure sculpts. They did WWF figures, and now thinking about it, some of those kind of look like the wrestlers were smelling rotten eggs, and this kind of looks like The Rock is smelling something kind of stinky too. He's got this, I mean, I think he's smelling what he's cooking in this figure. He's got a weird look to it. I don't know. But outside of the face kind of being like, it's decent. You know, he's got some weapons. He's got a little scorpion tail shield. Yeah, The Mummy Returns, the Scorpion King figure, Jakks Pacific, sort of groundbreaking moment in pop culture to see a wrestler take on that big of a role. It came home with me. And at the same spot, actually, I picked up the Mummy Returns figure, the Scorpion King. I got this really neat box set, and it's the Batman versus the Joker 2-pack. This is what they're calling a special edition. Now, buyer beware when things say special edition. There's probably thousands of these made. However, upon further review, these aren't necessarily all that common. This was an exclusive thing to Walmart, and I'm a huge fan of the Batman animated series, which is these are actually molded from. Rest in peace, Kevin Conroy. He's such a great Batman. Maybe one of the best to ever portray the role. What he did with that role is absolutely amazing, and his work will never be forgotten. And it wasn't just in the animated series, it carried over to video games. Such an iconic voice and so much depth and vengeance that he brought to that character. So rest in peace, gone too soon, never to be forgotten. But this is really neat. I'm a huge fan of the Batman animated series. This is from 2001, Hasbro. This is the new Batman Adventures. And yeah, I mean, they had a few different 2-packs at Walmart they did of these. They had Batman and Robin, I believe Batman and Superman. However, how much more iconic can you get than the animated Batman himself, with the animated version of the Joker? They're great little figures. They don't come with any accessories, but what I do like about the Batman figure is he's got a cloth cape. Yeah, I just really like both representations of these figures from the animated series, and I'm a huge Batman collector, so picked up 2 Batman things just alone on this trip. So I think I'll probably keep this in the package for now. I'm really itching to open them up though, because I just really like the design of those. But for now, it will stay in the box. It's got the Walmart sticker on here, $5.96. Toys were cheap back in the day, man. Special edition. No. We're down to my last find, and I'm saving the absolute best for last. I saw this almost as soon as I got into the park. It was one of the first booths I stopped at. I actually walked away from it and immediately regretted it and went back and picked it up. This is the Indiana Jones Talking Doll by Hasbro 2008. Who leaves this behind? I did initially, like an idiot. So I hightailed it back, fingers crossed that like someone else didn't swoop it and get it. The price on this was amazing.
How much you want on the Indiana Jones here?
Fernando, Indiana Jones.
30? Okay.
I got this for $30, and I looked it up. It goes for well more than that, so the guy was very fair on his pricing. I may have even gone higher than 30 on this. This thing is just right in my wheelhouse. I mean, first off, let's break it down. Love Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones and Temple of Doom is my favorite one, so if you disagree, I'm sorry. I know a lot of people do. It's like, oh, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Well, here you go. This is based off Raiders of the Lost Ark. He's got the golden idol. He's got his pistol, holster for his pistol, 2 different whips, one that's coiled up, one that's ready for whipping action, but none of that really matters because this figure talks.
Archaeology is the search for facts. Trust me. I don't know. I'm making this up as I go. Fortune and glory, kid. Fortune and glory.
And so this came out in 2008, right on the heels of Kingdom of Crystal Skulls. So they were pushing all sorts of Indiana Jones merch out there. I actually have the entire Temple of Doom line that they did around the same time that this came out. Dude, I never saw this in the store because if I did, I would have picked it up because it's just too quirky not to. But so nonetheless, I'll get down to it. You press Indy's belly button, ooh, and his mouth opens, and he speaks lines from not only just Raiders of the Lost Ark, but from all the movies. Because as I was going through, just tickling his little Indy belly button, he kept spitting out lines from Temple of Doom, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Last Crusade, maybe even some from Kingdom of Crystal Skulls, I don't know. But his mouth opens. It's a really interesting mechanic, and they got the mold of Harrison Ford's face pretty damn good, if you ask me. I believe his hat comes off. I don't really know. If you look on the packaging, it says that there is a contest they were doing or some sort of special offer. And if you collect 4 ARC stickers, then you could send those in for a 12-inch scale ARC. Wow. I looked those up, and they're highly collectible because I don't know how many people really did that. Because to collect 4 ARC stickers, I'm thinking you had to collect all 4 of these, I believe, 12-inch size dolls. And so, Mutt Williams, I don't really give a crap about that figure. As a matter of fact, I think that guy had that one for like $10, and I wasn't interested. The Cairo Swordsman, very cool. Now, if I ever see this one out, I may be tempted to buy it. German officer's kind of spare, and then you also have the Indiana Jones whip-cracking action Indiana Jones. Old boy actually had that one as well, but he was missing his hands. So I'm like, dude, quit trying to hard sell me on Mutt Williams, Shia LaBeouf, and Indiana Jones. This is where it's at. I mean, this Indiana Jones talks.
I hate these guys.
Yeah, and I hate those guys too. They're lame. This is the only one I wanted. So, look, I mean, so very cool. I've actually, it's funny, over the past few years, I guess I've started collecting dolls now because I have a few 12-inch figures from different movies that I really, really love and different things that I love. So now I've started to have this little collection of these 12-inch figures. They're dolls. Don't kid myself. But this was definitely the find of the day. I ain't believing that I walked away from this, and I'm so glad when I came back it was still there. The real movie dialogue, push to talk, Indiana Jones. I mean, this is the stuff that dreams or nightmares are made of because his mouth does move kind of funny.
I think we got a big problem.
Yeah, we may if he starts talking by himself. So, all right, viewers, do you have any experience with this stuff? Are these items a part of your collection? Would you have picked up these same things? Did you see anything in my videos that I missed or that you would have picked up? Let me know in the comments below. And if you haven't already, I would love it if you subscribe to my channel, hit the notification button. You can get up to date with all the stuff that I do here. And honestly, I do all sorts of kind of things. But if it has to do with movies, video games, music from time to time, definitely toys, I'm probably going to talk about it here on this channel. I really appreciate everyone tuning in, supporting this channel, contacting me, commenting, and making 2-day rentals a really special place where we can talk about all the things that we love. And it's like I always say at the end of my videos, let's be kind as we rewind and fast forward through time. Thank you so much for stopping by.